The inmates are metaphors for Batman and Joker. A viral theory suggests the famous joke at the end of The Killing Joke, about two inmates escaping an asylum, is actually a metaphor for the two main characters. Joker is effectively telling Batman that he cannot be helped, because Batman is just as insane as he is. Batman laughs in the final panel because he realizes the absurdity of the second most insane person in Gotham offering to rehabilitate the first. This theory provides a grounded explanation for their shared moment of humanity before their fatal relationship continues. Alfred Pennyworth is the true identity of the Joker. In an alternate Elseworlds storyline, it is revealed that Batman's loyal butler actually created the Joker persona to give Bruce a purpose. Alfred realized that Gotham's street-level criminals were no match for Batman, and feared Bruce would spiral into depression without a worthy challenge. By donning the purple suit and white makeup, Alfred became a force of chaos specifically designed to help Bruce become a greater hero. This twist suggests their entire legendary rivalry was actually a dysfunctional form of caretaking meant to keep Bruce safe and occupied. Bruce Wayne is a permanent patient at Arkham Asylum. This insanity theory posits that Bruce suffered a psychotic break after his parents' death and has hallucinated his entire career as Batman. Under this lens, the various villains he fights are actually doctors and orderlies trying to treat his violent delusions. For example, the Riddler is a therapist whose questions are interpreted by Bruce as puzzles, while the Penguin and Catwoman are fellow patients he views as equals. This theory even suggests the changing visual styles of the films represent Bruce's shifting mental state during different stages of his treatment. Nightmare Batman is a real fear toxin-powered successor. The ambiguous ending of Batman, Arkham Knight, features a terrifying levitating Batman composed of bats and black smoke. While some believe this is a hallucination, concept art titled Nightmare Batman suggests a real figure might be behind the mask. The theory is that the man formerly known as Bruce Wayne, or a successor, is now using Scarecrow's fear toxin to become a living spirit of vengeance. This version of Batman doesn't just fight criminals, he shoots them with toxin darts to ensure they experience literal nightmares before delivering justice. By the way, if you guys like movie content like this, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks. The Joker is the real hero and a catalyst for change. Supporters argue that the Joker's chaos in Gotham isn't random, but is a targeted attempt to rip apart the city's moral delusions. By forcing strangers to choose whether they will kill each other to survive, he unmasks the brittle nature of Gotham's social codes. His attacks expose the hypocrisy of the legal system and challenge the blind loyalty of heroes like Commissioner Gordon and Batman. Ultimately, his actions force a real change in the city that years of Batman's vigilantism never achieved, making him a dark diagnostician rather than a simple madman. The 1997 Batman and Robin film is an in-universe movie. Because of its campy tone, flashy costumes, and endless puns, fans speculate the film isn't a direct account of Batman's life, but a movie made by the people of Gotham. It represents how the general public might mythologize their local hero through a pop culture lens, where logic takes a back seat to summer blockbuster spectacle. This theory explains away the bat nipples and cartoonish villains as intentional choices made by fictional filmmakers within the DC world. It turns a controversial entry in the franchise into a fascinating piece of world-building about celebrity culture in Gotham. Batman and Robin share a subtle homoerotic relationship. Since at least 1954, academic and psychological studies have suggested that Batman stories contain a subtle atmosphere of homoeroticism. While many creators have rejected this, others like Burt Ward and George Clooney have acknowledged that the characters can be interpreted as lovers. Director Joel Schumacher even intentionally incorporated bat nipples and codpieces to lean into these queer overtones. Modern readers continue to find valid queer readings of the characters, suggesting that gayness is an important aspect of the Batman mythos. Thomas and Martha Wayne were the original leaders of the Court of Owls. Robert Pattinson has addressed a theory suggesting Bruce's parents weren't just victims, but the architects of Gotham's most powerful secret society. If the Waynes were secretly running an organized crime group for the wealthy elite, it would represent a nightmare scenario for Bruce's personal crusade. This twist would mean that Batman's mission to honor his parents' legacy was actually a fight against the very system they built. It adds a layer of corruption and betrayal that would make the Court of Owls the ultimate personal enemy for the Dark Knight. Bruce Wayne survived the Dark Knight Rises via a realistic Lazarus pit. While the film presents the pit as a literal prison, fans believe it is a grounded adaptation of the chemical pool that grants immortality in the comics. Bruce's suspiciously fast recovery from a broken back and a stab wound suggests he utilized a state-of-the-art recovery device, or advanced medicine. By perfecting this version of the Lazarus Pit, he was able to heal all his injuries before abandoning Gotham to live a peaceful life with Selina Kyle. This theory bridges the gap between Nolan's realism and the fantastical elements of the source material. Heath Ledger's Joker is an ex-military interrogation expert. Patton Oswalt proposed that the Joker's tactical ingenuity and ease with high-grade military hardware point to a background in special forces. His ability to manipulate people like Harvey Dent and Commissioner Gordon reflects a professional background in mind ferry and interrogation. He even conducts a reverse interrogation on Batman in the police station to see how far the hero will go to maintain his one rule. This origin explains why he has no records and why he remains terrifying by never being fully humanized in narrative terms. The Joker is Bruce Wayne's disfigured, long-lost brother. One theory suggests that Martha Wayne was pregnant at the time of her murder and that the unborn baby was injured by a bullet. The child survived but was horribly disfigured and cast away to a military school, funded by an untraceable Wayne trust fund. This child grew up without a name or family, eventually going insane and becoming the Joker to take revenge on the brother who inherited the world. This makes the Batman-Joker conflict a tragic family drama, where both brothers are driven by the same traumatic night in the alley. Arthur Fleck isn't the real Joker, but an inspiration. Director Todd Phillips has supported the idea that Joaquin Phoenix's character may not be Batman's true nemesis, but the man who inspires the persona. This theory addresses the significant age gap between Arthur Fleck and the young Bruce Wayne, suggesting they could never coexist as rivals in their prime. Instead, Fleck's Joker protests create a cultural movement that someone else eventually adopts to become the real Joker. This keeps the character's origin a mystery, while allowing Arthur Fleck to be the spark that ignites Gotham's descent into madness. The Joker is a victim of Scarecrow's fear toxin. A niche theory suggests that the Joker was originally just an average man who suffered a total mental breakdown after being exposed to Jonathan Crane's toxin. This exposure permanently shattered his mind, turning his fears into a bizarre, permanent state of super sanity where everything is a joke. It explains his immunity to traditional pain and fear, as well as his obsession with psychological warfare. In this version, the Clown Prince of Crime is a living side effect of a different villain's chemical weapon. Batman and Joker are the exact same person under different paths. Both characters share traumatic childhood experiences involving the murder of their parents, yet they chose opposing responses to that pain. While Batman uses his experience for good, the Joker represents the what-if scenario of someone who embraces the chaos. The Joker's frequent use of inclusive language, such as "you complete me and you're a freak, just like me," highlights this shared archetype. This theory posits that they are two sides of the same coin, destined to battle in a stalemate that can never truly be resolved. Alfred Pennyworth committed a protective fraud to save Bruce. Beyond just playing the Joker, Alfred may have bankrolled many of Batman's villains to keep Bruce away from actual criminals who could have killed him. By managing a cast of colorful, eccentric pretend villains, Alfred ensured that Bruce was constantly busy, but relatively safe. This would invalidate Batman's status as a master vigilante, revealing him to be the subject of an elaborate, butler-led training program. It turns the dark world of Gotham into a carefully manicured stage, designed to protect the last surviving Wayne. Batman actually kills the Joker at the end of The Killing Joke. Famous comic writer Grant Morrison has argued that the final page of the iconic comic depicts Batman strangling the Joker. As the two share a laugh, Batman reaches out toward the Joker, and the ha 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 text suddenly stops as the police lights fade. This reading suggests that Batman finally broke his one rule after realizing the Joker's madness was a cycle that would never end. It turns The Killing Joke into a literal description of the story's final act, marking the definitive end of their rivalry. The Killing Joke finale is a moment of shared humanity. Alan Moore has stated that his actual intention was for the two characters to experience a brief moment of lucidity in their fatal relationship. They both briefly perceive the hell that they are in and can do nothing but laugh at the absurdity of their situation. This interpretation argues that the characters aren't fighting in that moment, but are united by their mutual madness. It's a tragic realization that they are both trapped in a preposterous situation that will likely lead to both of their deaths. Bruce Wayne died so that Batman could truly be born. In the Arkham Knight ending, Bruce Wayne publicly unmasks himself before blowing up Wayne Manor. This suicide is interpreted as a psychological destruction of the Bruce Wayne persona to allow the Batman identity to take over completely. By erasing the lines of psychological separation, the man beneath the cowl becomes a pure symbol of vengeance. This reborn Batman no longer needs to walk the line between social responsibility and vigilantism, as the social part of his life has been literally incinerated. The Nightmare Batman is a Batman Beyond type character. Concept art and visual clues from the Arkham Knight secret ending point toward a future version of the hero. The figure features a red chest symbol that bears an uncanny resemblance to the suit design in Batman Beyond. This theory suggests that Bruce Wayne survived his death to train a successor who uses high-tech fear toxin to maintain order. It bridges the gap between the modern era and the future, suggesting that Batman has become a living spirit that transcends any one man. The pit in The Dark Knight Rises is a symbol of spiritual rebirth. While the Lazarus pit in the comics is a physical chemical pool, Nolan's version is a metaphorical rebirth through suffering and resolve. Climbing out of the pit despite severe injuries represents Bruce shedding his old broken self and returning as a reborn symbol of hope for Gotham. It replaces the supernatural elements of the comics with a psychological journey of the will. This theory argues that Nolan used the name of the comic device to signal a change in Bruce's fundamental character. The Joker is Batman's interrogator for the entire city. Heath Ledger's Joker plummets to his seeming death laughing because he has successfully conducted a mind F on the entire population of Gotham. His goal was never to kill, but to see how far the immovable object would go to maintain his rules. When Batman rescues him, the Joker is blissful and relieved because he has found an individual he cannot break, proving the validity of his own obsession. He views their relationship as a fruitless session between a professional interrogator and a perfect subject.